G'day, this is how to change your e-scooter tyre or the tube inside of it. You'll need the stuff on the screen. The tyre lever and valve extenders are optional. Get your Phillips head screwdriver, undo these 3 screws on one side. It's easiest to tilt your scooter upside down on top of the corner of a table or something. Then undo all of these screws on the underside of the scooter. Underneath the little light things, there's these big nuts. And then there's a wire. You need to trace the wire back through the underside of the scooter to where you find the cords join and unplug those. There should be 3 power wires and a little clip thing. Get your 18mm spanner, undo those nuts either side. You'll notice underneath the nuts there is washers, so grab them as well and just put them aside somewhere safe. Once you've unplugged the wiring, then you're going to pull the wiring through a little bit, but not all the way through, just so that you've got more wires to play with. So about there is right. So it should look something like that, and just leave it like that. And then you just wiggle the tyre and the little brake disc thing, the whole assembly, just lift it up. But beware that the cord is still attached, so you'll have to do this next to the scooter. That's why we pulled the wire through, just to give it a little bit more length so that we make it easier to change the tyre or the tube. I don't recommend changing, putting a big solid tyre because they're too hard to get on the rim. I'm just going to change the tube. But it's up to you, you can do it if you want. Undo those 6 screws with your Phillips head screwdriver, and then use your 2 screwdrivers, one on each side, to lever up the little hub face. Just be careful you don't crimp the wire. There's a stupid design, the wire goes in next to the bolt, so just be careful. And once you get the side of that hub off, you get your 10mm spanner and you've got to undo the valve nut. That's that little thing. Once you've got it loose, just spin it with a flathead screwdriver because it's quicker. Then get your tyre levers, or you can use a couple of big spanners if you don't have them. And you're going to stick them in the disc side and slowly work your way around. Slowly work your way around the rim to get the tyre off. That's the first step. It doesn't really matter if you accidentally pinch the tube in there. It does when you reinstall it. Just be careful when you're putting the tube back in. So that's what it looks like when you get the wheel off. Just pull the tube out. As you can see, this one's too damaged to repair because it's got damage all over it. But if you are going to repair it, just throw your old tube into the sink and find where the air is leaking. I'm just going to use a whole brand new tube. The new tube will always come with a nut that doesn't fit right, so just use the old nut off the other tube. Don't use the big one, use the small one. The easiest way is to get the tube, poke it back through the wheel and just put the nut on lightly. And then slowly put the tyre and the tube back on, being careful not to pinch the tube. The tube should be able to tuck into the tyre like that. Screw the valve nut, the 10mm nut, back in, and then put the hub back on, making sure that the hole for the valve lines up correctly and that the valve isn't on an angle. These valve extenders are handy. They're $10 from Repco. They just help you pump the tyre up a lot easier. Depending on your pump, you might not need one, but I screwed one on just to make it easier to pump up. I'm taking this tyre up to 40 psi. Just look on the side of the tyre and it'll tell you the pressure that should be in it. Then just put the washers back on and the nuts. Make sure the tyre is facing the right direction. There's a little picture on the side of the tyre that tells you which way the tyre should spin. And then reconnect your wires, put the cover back on, and put the little red indicator covers back on. And that is it. Just spin the tyre. If you hear like a grindy sound, sometimes you might have accidentally bent the disc a little bit while you were putting everything back in. To fix it, just gently use your hand to just bend the disc back a little bit so that there's no grinding sound. It'll be grinding on the brake pad, but if you bend it a little bit, it should stop. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.